we gon' hit some notes for the bed.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Tato Kai, and I'm assuming y'all here because y'all read that title. Y'all being a little nosy, huh? So let's get right up into it. I'm gonna tell y'all how my hairstylist had me all up in her business. I'm in there getting my hair braided. And we gonna name my stylist Monica. Monica was let me see. She was married. She was like, let's say in her mid 20s, right? And no, I'll say mid to late 20s. She had two kids, a boy and a girl. And she was living that American life dream, the white picket fence. She was making good money as a celebrity hairstylist. She had a husband. He primarily took care of all the bills. I want to say he was a teacher or professor for a university, and very well spoken, very well educated. He was one of those guys where he came from the hood, but he stayed in the house. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't one of them guys that was always in them streets, but he had friends and family that was outside. He, however, was or is probably the only male in his family that actually got married, had kids, lived a really good life with his girl, right? And we'll name him Michael. Well, as I'm sitting in her chair, she's just, I guess it was just therapy session. So she's just like, one day she was at home and Michael was sleeping. His phone kept going off. At first, she's not usually the I want to go through your phone type girl, but because it kept ringing and ringing, she was just wondering who was hitting him up. Mind you, it had to be all of like what, maybe 3 o'clock. So he was just taking like a little nap. Now, when she looked over at his phone, it was a little notification. I don't know if y'all familiar with WhatsApp, but she wasn't at the time. Now, WhatsApp, they have like all those encrypted text messages and stuff like that. So like people can't really get into it. But she contemplated on going into that phone because she was just like, she's never seen Michael use this app before. And why would somebody be reaching out to him via that app and not just a regular phone call or text message? Let me tell you, she contemplated, was just thinking, like, okay, should I do it? Should I do it? That phone rang one more time. And when I say rang, it was really like a ding because it was just a text. So she looked at it. Michael's over there knocked out. She grabbed the phone, popped in that password. Doot, 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 doot. Can y'all guess what she saw? Can y'all guess what she saw? It was a text message from her best friend, Jessica.
Hell no. Come on, wait till the no.
Jessica was somebody that grew up with her and her family since middle school, high school years. They was yay high, grew up to this high and that high. They was kicking, they were best friends. So she's wondering, why is Jessica texting her husband? She opens up the message and it says, I miss you. I can't wait to see you tonight.
You raggedy bitch.
Now, when I tell you, Monica's heart dropped. Like, dropped. She looked over at her husband and she wanted to just slap fire out of him while he was asleep. But she played it cool. She just sitting there on the bed right next to him, just rocking back and forth. Just rocking back and forth. And she decides to text back Jessica as if she was him. Damn, Jessica, I miss you too. Why did Jessica send a picture of herself in lingerie? You got to be kidding me. This is when Monica starts scrolling up the phone and seeing like a long ass thread of messages
Hell no,
dated
man.
back
What the
to like
fuck,
over
man?
a year. So she's thinking like, damn, like, do I work that long, or am I too busy? Am I too busy with the kids to not notice like this type of thing? These things are happening behind my back. Like, how could this be? So Monica texts her back and just says, dang, you look good. Monica will be leaving soon. Why don't you pull up on me later on tonight? And she replied back like, ooh, what time? She said, be here by 7 p.m. Jessica replied, all right, bet. I'll see you soon. 7 p.m. couldn't come fast enough. She was heated. Now, let me tell you something about Michael. Michael was not really hiding, but Monica knew. Michael was hiding a drinking problem and a pill problem. He stayed popping them things, and he kept a bottle in his hand. I don't know where this came from, but I think it probably came from, like, I'm assuming the stress from work and him trying to make sure everybody in the household was good. So he just gravitated to that. He was knocked out, and Monica assumed it was because, he popped some pills and drank a little Hennessy, the hen dog had him knocked out. So she goes downstairs and she's pacing. Her heart is racing, right? Racing. She didn't know what to do. She was just like, man, she couldn't believe why would her friend do that to her? And why would her trifling, behind husband treat her like that? Like, she's never been unfaithful. She's always been loyal. She take care of the kids. Like, why would he do that to her? I guess there's really no good answer for that. Finally, a couple hours go by, and listening to this story, I'm sitting in her chair flabbergasted. Because one, me and Monica not that tight. I think she just needed somebody to vent to. Clearly, she didn't have friends like that for her to talk to somebody, or maybe it was just easier for her to just talk to me because I'm a stranger, not really a stranger. I come in and get my hair done, and then, her salon is kind of like one of those little private salons, so it's one for all type thing. So, I mean, I don't know, or maybe she just felt comfortable talking to me. So finally, Monica called her cousin, asked her if she can come pick up the kids. And she gave her cousin a little rundown of what happened. And she didn't want her kids to witness what could possibly go down when Jessica pop up. So boom, Michael walked downstairs. He's all like,
Hey man, it's so nice to, best nap ever. Ooh, oh my God.
blah, blah, blah. He goes down to the kitchen, already grabs a bottle of Hennessy. She rolls her eyes and just like, behind his back, of course. And she's trying to play it cool. She like,
The kids is at my cousin's house. I figured we could just have a chill night. We could watch a movie or something.
And he's like, dang, I wish I could have, said goodbye to the kids or whatever, but okay, cool.
and he's like,
So what's gonna be for dinner?
she was like,
You know what? Why don't I Uber something to eat?
and he's like, oh, okay, bet. And so she's like, it's on me. What do you feel like eating? So he gives her the little menu. Whole time she not ordering nothing. She's pretending to put in an Uber Eats order so that when that Uber come ring the doorbell, it's actually Jessica.
You smart. You very smart. You a genius.
She looks at him. She was like, okay, cool. Dinner will be here around 7 p.m. He said, okay, bet. I'm about to go shower. I'll be down right before it comes. He had no idea what was about to come. No idea. So anyway, Monica's sitting there contemplating. She gets to rocking back and forth thinking like, okay, what should I do? Should I have her Jessica rings the doorbell, then have Michael answer the door, or should I, or not I, but, or should Monica answer the door? She's going through that back and forth, like, what should I do? What should I do? And she was like, fuck it. I'm gonna have Michael answer the door, and then she's just gonna come up behind her, then boom, sock her right in the mouth. Who knows? But she was just like, whatever happens, happens. That's just what it's gonna be. Finally, it's about 6:50. She tells Michael, all right, the food should be here any moment now. He's like, okay, just let me know. I'll go grab it from the door. 10 minutes go by. There's a doorbell ring. And her heart starts pacing. She's like, oh my God. Like, okay, here it is. Here it is. She's like, okay, Michael, go get the door. I think the food's here. He goes and gets the door, and she starts mumbling to herself,
Get it together, Monica. Get it together.
and he could hear her. He's like,
What? What you say, babe?
and by the time he's like opening the door and saying that, not really paying attention. And by the time he opens the door, his head is still turned, looking at her like, huh, what you saying? He turns back around when the door is open. It is Jessica in a trench coat. And you already know what's under that trench coat. Absolutely nothing. Monica was already behind him. She grabbed her by the collar, slammed the door, and pushed Michael out the way. Michael was shook. And can you believe what Jessica was just as shook. And she didn't know what to do. It went down. And finally, once Michael snapped out of it, he grabbed Monica off of her and said to Jessica,
Jessica, what are you doing here?
and she was like, well, I thought you texted me and said, we're supposed to be here at 7, blah, blah, blah. He was like, he had no clue what was going on. Monica, stand up.
I texted that beep, bop, boop, bow, bam. I texted that hoe.
He's like,
What?
she's like,
Yeah, I went through your phone and I saw all the messages and
So Jessica, she starts trying to get up from off the floor. And she's like, Monica, can we talk? Please, can we talk? She's like,
talk. You want to talk? You want to talk to me now? You got me, you got me fucked up. Like, what's your problem?
Michael was trying to help her off the floor, and Monica was paying attention. She ain't like that. Monica's like,
Why
why?
the fuck are you helping this girl off the floor? Matter of fact, get this B word out my house before I do some things I regret.
Which she really should have, but she didn't. Jessica, she just took that walk of shame home, and on the way out, she noticed that her necklace had fell, so she picked it up and walked back outside to the crib. Walked back outside to her car, and she left. Now, during that time, Michael was doing all the apologizing with the I'm sorry's, I should have never did this, I'll never do it again, and whoop-de-whoop-de, things that you don't want to hear. And do we really believe that? Well, I hope she didn't. So mind you, she's telling me all of this while I'm sitting in her chair, and I am clutching my pearls, because like, what? Your best friend, somebody you grew up with, your husband, you got kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, she been around the kids all the time, but not been around the whole family. She know the whole family. Like, that's crazy. All right. So, Monica, she's furious. She starts packing up her things. The kids is already gone at her cousin's house. She goes upstairs and she gets on the phone with her mom. And she's crying. She's just like, hey, Mom, can I just come over? I think I want to just spend some time there for a little bit while I clear my head. Her mom's asking a whole bunch of questions, but Monica really not trying to talk like that right now. Michael could hear, and he already knew who she was calling. He knew she was calling her parents. And that kind of irritated him a little bit, because he already knew, like, once she start talking to her parents, he's gonna have to hear it from everybody else. So she start packing up her bags and she bounces. Michael don't say nothing. He knew he messed up, so he was giving her space. She get to her parents' house, and let me tell you about mom and dad. Mom and dad are been married forever. You know what I'm saying? They got two other kids. Monica got two other siblings, a brother and a sister. She's the youngest. She has an older sister, Malia, who doesn't live in the same state. And then she has an older brother, Billy, who we'll get to later. He's a whole other man. Like, Billy is, he's somewhat of the perfect son to the parents, but in them streets, he a whole other, you know what. And his street name, he got a whole street name. His street name is Reaper. But like I said, we'll get to that a little later. By the time she pulled up to her parents' driveway, like I said, I don't know, did I say that they're pastors. They've been married over 40 years. You know, they're like couple goals, I guess you want to say. Anyway, the father comes out first and starts grabbing Monica's bags, and he's, embracing her like, "Oh, sweetie, what's wrong?" and blah blah. And as soon as he embraced her, she starts bawling. She is bawling out of control. And her mom is just like, "Come on, sweetie, let's just go inside." So they go inside. Boom. She tell him everything that happened. And the mom's like, "Jessica? The Jessica that used to spend the night over our house, Jessica? That Jessica?" And she's like, "Yes." And then her dad was like, "What? Like, that's crazy." Boop, bop, bing. Anyway, Monica's ended up staying a few nights over there. And while she's staying there, Michael is blowing her phone down, but she is ignoring every call. She's just over it. Until one day she realized she needed a break from her kids. She was just tired. She just wanted to just chill. So she ended up finally answering one of his phone calls. And she's just like, "Come pick up these kids." You know what I'm saying? Like, "I need a break. I'm so tired of this. You already done cheated on me. You trying to ruin my life and all this other kind of stuff." And he's trying to win her over with the apologies. He's sending flowers back to back to back. She not trying to hear none of that. She not trying to see none of that. She's just over it. When I say he's sending flowers to the crib every single day. And she don't want it. Not one of them. Every single flower went in that trash. So she gives him a day of when he can come pick up the kids. In his head, he's like, "Okay, cool. I can come pick up the kids and I could see her. Then maybe I could talk her into come seeing me, or, her coming back home or whatever." Whole time, when it was time for him to get the kids, Monica was not there. She made sure to schedule that on a day where she would be busy at work. But who was there was her mama. And her mom had a few words for him. And one thing she did say was, she was like, "You guys are married and I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but she is still my daughter. And what you did was jacked up." And, at this point, he didn't really know what else to say, but just ask her mom, like, "Well, what can I do to win her back?" And blah, blah, blah. And she didn't really give him no answers, but he did say that he would like to take her out on a date. Fast forward, mom told her that he wanted to take her out, and for whatever reason, Monica folded and said, "A free meal, cool, whatever." And he was basically able to just, I'm not going to go over all of that stuff, but he was basically able to just win her over like an idiot. He was able to win her over. And when she told me that, I'm like, "Monica, like, you was at your mama house, what, all of 2 weeks, and you caved in like that?" he slept with your best friend. And she was just like, Taylor, please just listen. So I'm like, all right, you know what? It ain't my life. It's yours. So she back in the house, and now it's getting ready to be Thanksgiving.
Hey, how you doing?
And Thanksgiving that year was going to be at their house. They were trying to play it cool, but he was still drinking. He was still popping them pills. And hey, it was what it was. If that was on her, she took him back. She knew what to expect. That's just what it was. Anyway, so the plan was her sister was supposed to be there. Both her parents were supposed to be there. Obviously, her kids, her sister's kids, and Billy was supposed to be there. So while she's in the kitchen cooking, he's in there in the kitchen, in and out, grabbing shots and, trying to get some affection from her. But she's disgusted because now he's starting to get a little drunk. One thing about Michael, though, was he was somewhat of like a functional drunk, if you know what I mean. Finally, the doorbell rings. And she was kind of happy because now it was something for him to do. She was like, why don't you just go get that door instead of like bothering me? And it was Malia, her older sister. Remember, Malia does not live in the same state as them. So she flew in town to be with the family for Thanksgiving. And she doesn't know anything that was going on. So she's like, hey, Michael, so glad to see you. He's all like, they give each other a hug. And, he lets the kids in, or her daughter. And then she's just like, where's my sister at? Monica yells, oh, I'm in the kitchen. Come chill with me for a little bit, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Long story short, you already know, she give her the rundown while he's in the living room watching TV, and Malia's shocked. She is shocked, like, what? I can't believe that. And Monica asks, like, please do not tell Billy. I do not want Billy to know. Malia looked at her like, all right, but this is crazy. I'm not going to say nothing this time. Monica thanks her and whatever. And then she finally brings up, she's like, yo, anyway, speaking of Billy, have you talked to him? She was like, Malia's like, yeah, I spoke to him. He's supposed to be pulling up later. He's doing something. He's running a little late. And Monica rolled her eyes like, man, like, I really wish Billy would just get out them streets. Like, that stuff not cool. Malia's just like, man, don't worry about him. He'll be all right. He'll be cool. Finally, the doorbell rang again. And Monica yells out, hey, Michael, can you go get the door? He's like, yeah, cool. So he go get the door. It's mom and dad. Mom says hello, but dad didn't even look him in the eye. You already know he was irritated. He didn't like the story that he heard from Monica of how he was cheating. Mom is a little different. She already kind of spoke to him. Dad didn't. He don't care. He not running none of that. But Michael peeped, and he wasn't really feeling that energy from her dad because he's thinking like, this is my house. I mean, you need to speak up. But hey, I mean, I don't know. What would y'all parents do? How would y'all parents handle that? Anyway, let's fast forward to like they just chilling, and finally, I think the mom or the dad was like, hey, Malia, have y'all talked to Billy? And Malia looked at her at the time and was like, nah, you know what? It's been a minute. Let me call and see what's going on. She stepped outside to the patio and, gives him a call. Let me tell you something. Why when she called him, she's like, hey, what's up? He's like,
Hey, what's going on, sis? Blah, blah. What's up, big head?
you know how that little sibling banter be. All of a sudden, she hear, wow. She's like, Billy. He's not answering. Billy. He's like, All of a sudden he come back to the phone, he's like, yo, I gotta go. He hang up real quick. Her heart start racing. She didn't want to like stress nobody out. Mind you, remember the parents don't know that he in them streets like that. So she don't want to say too much. So she's just hoping like everything is gonna be cool. So she walked back in. She take a deep breath. She walked back in, and she was like, yeah, Billy's gonna be probably a little late. I don't know. I might have to just pack up a bag, like a plate or something up for him later or whatever." So Monica is in the kitchen, and she's grabbing everything, and she's starting to put everything on the table. Now dinner's ready. It's time to eat. Everybody's sitting at the table, and it's time for Dad to say the family prayer. Everybody has their head down like this, but Michael, he's drunk now. He's like real drunk. And as Pops is saying, or Dad is saying the prayer, Michael is just grilling her father down because he's irritated. Like he hasn't said nothing to him all day. He's sitting at his dinner table. He's leading the prayer. It's Thanksgiving, and he's feeling like mad disrespected. So, they say their amens, and Dad lifts his head up. And he can see that Michael is grilling him. So Dad looked at him and was like, "Is there a problem?" That's when things started to get a little tense. And Michael responded,
What's your problem with me?
Mom starts rubbing Dad's back, like on the back of the chair. And he says,
You can't be that much of a fool to not know what the problem with you is.
Michael was taken back. So Mom sees things start stirring up, and she's like, "You know what? Let's settle down. Let's calm down. It's Thanksgiving. The kids are here." And Monica starts getting anxious. She speaks up, and she was just like,
But let's not get disrespectful. Let's not do this right here.
all of a sudden, Malia stands up from the table, which catches everybody off guard because now Malia's sitting back like, okay, so what's going on? During this time, Michael sees it. I guess that kind of like put a battery in his back. And he's like,
Disrespectful? How am I being disrespectful when you can't even speak to me in my own house?
so Mom did not hesitate. She grabbed the kids. She could feel the energy shift. So she grabbed the kids and took them upstairs. All this is happening. Why did Michael run over to Dad while Dad was still sitting down, clenched his fist, and said,
Say I won't rearrange your face right now.
he said this to her father and said,
Say I will not rearrange your face right now.
Monica starts yelling,
Michael, stop. Michael, stop.
and then, Mom is starting to run back downstairs trying to get things situated. Why did Malia run to the Malia ran to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. All of a sudden, boom, hit Dad in the face. Dad didn't do nothing. Dad did not do anything. Michael did it again. Boom, hit him in the face again. Dad didn't do nothing again. All of a sudden, Monica jumps on Michael's back, grabs him so that he can't, move around. It was too much weight, and plus he was already drunk. When you're drunk, your body already heavy. So I guess that kind of like snapped out of that. And Mom grabs Dad. They get up and they just pack up and just leave. Like everybody's just lost. By the time Malia's out, Malia comes back out with the knife. And Mom's like, "We are not about to do that. You better put that knife down. We are not doing this. We're not doing none of that." Like things just went ballistic. And like I said, they were getting ready to go. And things just went haywire after that. Mom and Dad left. The kids were still upstairs. Michael drove off somewhere. he grabbed his keys and just left, drunk driving. And Malia stayed behind with Monica. And Malia was just like, she was just so much in shock that she just sat at the table and just ate her food at the plate. But I mean, ate her food by herself, grabbed a shot of poured some of the Hennessy from Michael's bottle into a glass and drank it. Meanwhile, Monica's upstairs packing her stuff because she already knew Billy was going to find out. And once Billy found out, it was over with. She left the house and she packed up the kids again and decided just to go to a hotel because in her head she was like, "Oh no, once Billy finds this out, he's gonna come back to this house and Billy gonna do something." And once she's done, she comes back downstairs to Malia and sees Malia eating at the table. And she's like, please do not tell Billy what just happened. And she's like, Malia's like, man, sis, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, sis. I'm gonna have to let him know about that. Meanwhile, Malia forgot that Billy had something going on in the background of it, whatever it was that he had going on. You know, that whole little thing that happened with the whole like shooting in the back, whatever that was going on. So Malia she took one more shot and she got ready to go. Monica too. Monica was already packing her car up, putting everything in the trunk and things like that. I guess Monica left. Malia leaves. Once Malia leaves, she gets to calling Billy again to make sure everything's okay. So she called Billy while she in the car. She like, the phone is ringing. Finally, he pick up and she's like, bro, what happened? Like, are you good? Like, what's going on? And he totally forgot because this is just the lifestyle for him. Apparently, he won't even think about nothing. He was just like,
Oh, that little thing. Oh, it's cool.
then he just changed the subject. He's like,
So did you save me a plate?
and she was like, man, I got something to tell you. She's like, are you by yourself? He's like,
What's good?
she said, Michael put hands on Pops. It's like,
Wait, what?
she said, Michael put hands on Dad. All of a sudden, there was like a shift. Imagine yourself, okay, so let's say you're looking at Billy now. All of a sudden, his mood starts shifting. Now he's turning into Reaper. And he was like,
Oh, I thought that's what you said. I love you, sis.
and then he hung up. She already knew what that meant. Meanwhile, Billy / Reaper, we're going to call him Reaper now because right now he's Reaper. He made a call. He got on the phone. And the only thing he said was,
Tell everybody to meet me at the warehouse.
I'm like, me. Now I'm like, so imagine her, she's telling me this, and I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm just like, girl, we almost done because I'm gonna need a drink after this. This is getting a little heavy. I was not expecting to hear this type of story while I'm getting my hair braided. You know, when you getting your hair braided, it take like 4 or 5 hours, especially with the type of braids you're supposed to be getting. So I'm like, this is getting a little deep. I'm gonna need a shot or two after this. She's like,
Yeah, I got probably like 4 braids left. How about drinks on me? We can go get some drinks after this.
I'm like, okay, cool. Finishes up my hair. We end up getting into her car. As we're driving to the bar, her phone is ringing. She's ignoring the car. It was somebody, I kept seeing somebody named Nick. You know, you could pop up on the screen in the car. Somebody named Nick kept calling her. But she kept ignoring it. While she was ignoring it, I'm like, who's Nick? Is that like some new little boo thing or something you got going on? Like that ain't Michael's thing. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, girl, it's okay. Like she kind of like laughed it off and then just brushed it off. And so I just ignored it from there. But I kept that in the back of my head. Meanwhile, we get to the bar. She ordered a few rounds of drinks and now we're drinking. So I'm like, okay, I'm chill now. You can finish the story. So like, what happened? Reaper finally gets let me see, Reaper gathers all his boys at the warehouse. And the person that he called to gather the boys, his name was Nick. That's his right hand man. Crazy, right? He gathers everybody at the warehouse. When she says that to me, I'm like, why is Nick caught blowing your phone line down? And she's just trying to hush me up, like, Taylor, just relax. Just let me get there. Meanwhile, back at the warehouse, Nick and the boys are gathered. He's there cleaning off his tools. If you know it, if you're an adult here, you know what a tool is like. He's cleaning, making sure everything is prepared. And Nick's not really knowing like what happened. Anyway, they just know that they about to go do something. Finally, everybody get up into their cars. Nick and Reaper get into Reaper's Escalade, and the boys, like his crew, would follow Nick and Reaper. Nick asks Reaper, like, so what's this all about? He gave him a whole little rundown, like, this is what happened, woo de woo de woo. Mind you, Nick is also somebody that they grew up with. They're like what they would call brothers. They're not blood related or anything like that. They're literally just like this. So once they get in the car, Nick hands him a blunt and a bottle and was like, all right, so you ready for this? He's like, yeah. They start driving off, and it probably took them about 15, 20 minutes to get there to Monica's house, because that's where they were pulling up to. And once they got close, Reaper told Nick,
All right, call them,
which was the crew,
and let them know. Mask on.
all right, y'all, stay tuned for part 2. If y'all want part 2, y'all gotta let me know. This is the first chapter to my book. I wanted to give y'all a little sample of some things that I do right. Let me know if you liked it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Ask me anything. Tell me what you think, things like that. I do have projects coming up. I can link, or let me know if you want like info on the story. It's called Meet the Family. I'll put a little link down below, maybe, so that you guys can get that if you just want to read the whole story. But I think this series is going to be really, really fun. Make sure you guys follow me on all social medias. And depending on how this goes, maybe I'll go through or do a little story time on chapter 2. I'll see y'all soon.